On tonight's show, JR and Heyman gush over Tori and Stacy in their lingerie, hopefully not literally. Two brothers collide in an Intercontinental Championship ladder match, while Jericho finally wins a big one. Whose side is RVD on? Can Kurt Angle recapture the WWE Championship? And Stone Cold Steve Austin gets the back of his head busted open by Vince McMahon with an inadvertent chair shot because it's such good shit, pal. I'm John Renton with the retro review of WWE No Mercy 2001, the second to last pay-per-view in the ill-fated, ill-begotten, and ill-advised invasion angle that had some good moments and some moments we all, quite frankly, wish we could forget. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. In St. Louis, with 15,600 some odd people going wild and crazy for some of it, and kind of sitting on their hands for a bit of it, because this was kind of a weird show. There were some really, really good moments and some really good action, and then there were also some matches you probably could have just seen on Raw or SmackDown and not miss shit. So anyway, the heat matches, by the way, were APA versus Canyon and Hugh Morris. Man, Canyon has just fallen way down as far as stature since being part of that, whoa, man, that fucking squash match, that steel cage match of SummerSlam 2001. Fucking hell, they didn't know what to do with Canyon, did they? Well, they had Undertaker cave his head in, in early 2003 because he was gay, so he had to go out there and act really gay and everything, and my God, that was brutal to watch, poor Canyon. And also, Kidman took on Sky Too Hotty and retained the Cruiserweight Championship. So now we get to the Hardys with Lita versus Storm and Hurricane with Ivory and Mighty Molly, and it was the WCW Tag Team Championship match. Yes, the Hardys were still the WCW Tag Team Champions, and the match was fine. The crowd popped for the Hardys and Lita, as you would expect. At one point, Mighty Molly put Hurricane's cape on, and he was like, I have the powers, hooray, I'm going to dive. Ow, that hurt with the crossbody. And then we get a melee, the women get involved, and twist and swanton, 1, 2, 3. The Hardys retain the WCW Tag Team Championships. And then RVD is talked to by William Regal, who says, do the right thing tonight or whatever. Are you going to apologize for what you did to Stone Cold Steve Austin because he 5-star frog splashed him on the SmackDown just before the pay-per-view? He says, no, I'm not gonna. And, don't do anything stupid. Oh, don't worry. I'm only looking out for, one person. RVD. Because he's basically had it with this alliance bullshit, and he's looking out for himself. Can't really fucking blame him. Stone Cold's kind of been an absolute fucking dick here. So anyway, here's Vince in a limo. And he asks Michael Cole to put on his jacket in a typical Michael Cole fashion. He drops it on the ground because Michael Cole can't even do that stuff right because he has no motor skills, along with no commentary skills. And he says, next time you drop my jacket, I'm going to drop you. God, if only he would have punched him. It might have knocked some sense into Michael Cole. So anyway, we get Tess versus Kane. Ever since Booker and Tess won the WCW Tag Team Championships from Kane and Undertaker, they've been kind of, going back and forth with some singles matches and stuff like that and some melees and whatever. And Tess has been getting a bit of a push here. Actually, that's the one thing, or one of the few things they got right during the Alliance angles. They started featuring Tess. I'm not saying Tess was a world beater, and it is unfortunate that he passed away at the age of 33. But he had something, and they were clearly high on him. He took on Kane in a match that was fine. Nick Patrick didn't call the DQ when Tess clearly used the ring bell, but whatever. JR was like, well, Heyman, how many different angles do you need to see or whatever? Like, it's clearly obvious that it was a DQ, but, Nick Patrick being the corrupt referee who can't do a fucking 3 count correctly, especially in one of the biggest matches in WCW history. My God. But Sting wasn't tan enough. I'm still fucking sore about how they botched that whole build to Starrcade 97. But anyway, big vertical suplex by Tess. That was very impressive. Some good power stuff. Pump handle slam 4-2. Tess is getting frustrated. A chair gets in there. Kane gets stopped from using a chair. And we get a ref bump. Oh no, the ref's distracted. And we get a big boot. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Tess gets a victory. And then Nick Patrick gets 2 choke slams and a power bomb because, let's be perfectly honest, that's the least he deserved for fucking, again, ruining the Starrcade 97 main event. But then again, Nick Patrick was always willing to take bumps, former wrestler and turned referee, and was honestly a better referee and was willing to do a whole lot. Whatever happened to Nick Patrick? Is he still doing any refereeing of any kind? I don't believe I've seen him on a broadcast for a while. I mean, if he's still in WWE, I don't remember seeing him. So anyway, Stone Cold won't talk to the coach, but he shouts at Deborah to tell him, hey, RVD, Kurt Angle, and especially Vince are pieces of trash. And then Stacy shows Matt what she has on underneath her robe. Stop thinking about it, Zach. I know you're thinking about it. Stop it. Get some help. And then Lita's like wondering, what were you looking at? Oh, nothing, nothing. You look great tonight. Yeah. Hope she doesn't see this tape later. It's on camera, Matt. She's probably going to see it. So anyway, they did a video package for the lingerie match. Let me just say that once again, in case you guys did not understand. They did a video package for the lingerie match between Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler. Do not misunderstand me. They look good. And they really did try. They actually tried to fucking wrestle in this and didn't do too bad for two that really aren't all that good in the ring. They were never brought in to wrestle. They were brought in to do some stuff and everything, especially in WCW. I mean, Stacy had her cheerleading background. Tori, I don't know what Tori's athletic background really was. I know she had a fitness background. But Stacy's Tori's in red, and JR says, red was always one of my favorite colors, and god damn it, got pervy JR. JR being horny on Maine, you know, as I believe the kids say. Couldn't sound more white if I tried. Heyman was also gushing quite a bit. It was uncomfortable for everybody. Stacy did pull out a whip at one point and whipped Tori and the ref. Again, stop thinking about it. I know you're thinking about it. She was riding to the crop, and I ruined that Jeff Hardy song. So anyway, the crowd loved it, and Tori did a reverse elbow at one point and got a cover, 1, 2, 3. Just folded Stacy up like an accordion. And Vince then greets Kurt and says, good luck. And he's like, I won't be needing luck. Oh, it's damn true and all this. It's Stone Cold true. It's, RVD true. It's Rob Van Dam true. He's just going all nuts and everything like I was trying to, remember exactly what he said. Christian cuts a promo where he knocks Mark McGuire for breaking the home run record. Now he's all broken down and everything because he did so many goddamn steroids. He was fucking broken down. Not that he was the only one. Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds being the equivalent of a goddamn, water balloon. And not a useful water balloon. He was seriously so goddamn big. It was insane. So, boy, that whole era where they were doing the home run stuff. Yeah, it led to ratings and it also led to a bunch of controversy because everybody was juicing so goddamn much. Even O.J. Simpson was like, okay, I thought I was a juice. You guys have the nickname. And I'm going to go look for the real killers. So anyway, Edge and Christian had an IC title ladder match. Boy, this review's going well. They told a story. They brought out the ladder and did some good impactful maneuvers, as you would do in a ladder match. But they told it through impact by making sure that they kept the ladder spots to a minimum to build up to it. And considering these are two brothers, even though by the time Christian came back in 2009, they were no longer brothers, they did some good climbing spots. And there was a snapmare onto the ladder, where Edge was in the corner and then threw Christian up and he was staring up at the spotlight. And I'm just going to continue to worm that REM reference into every review I possibly can. Headshots, and not Unreal Tournament headshots, by the way. And we get multiple ladders, a reverse DDT off of that. We get 2 chairs. We get a 3rd ladder. My God, Home Depot must have been cleared out. Then we get a spear, and then later a concerto on the ladder. My God, he shattered his brains, except he just tumbles off. Edge wins. Edge wins. Winning the Intercontinental Championship for the first time since he won it at SummerSlam and lost it a month prior at Unforgiven. That being said, though, good stuff. Also, ouch. Ouch. But good match. Very good match. Spike was at WWF New York, and Heyman was trying to ask him a question, and Spike's a single guy, and my God, there was a beauty hitting on him there. I don't know who she was. I hope she's doing well. The Dudleys took on Tajiri and the Big Show for the WWE Tag Title match, and it was fine. It was fine. During the melee at the end, missed to the referee, Gore to Big Show, and then 3D on Tajiri for 3. The crowd was kind of into it, at least near the end, but they were kind of a little bit muted because they saw a really good ladder match. Also, that ladder match doesn't talk about nearly enough for how, pretty damn good it is. It kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Because let's be honest, they started overdoing the whole ladder match concept. So Rhino tells William Regal he will make people respect the Alliance, even if he has to do it himself. They would be done within a month. Anyway, so good job there, Rhino. Taker took on Booker. Okay, so it was there in their Judgment Day 2004 match. At least I think that's when they faced off. That being said, it wasn't great. Sometimes you have 2 stars that seemingly on paper should work well together, and I don't know what it was. They had some good moments, like Taker working on the arm of Booker, and Booker coming back with a meat whistle dropkick, as I like to call the missile dropkick, because I am a mature individual, and if you believe that, clearly you have just tuned into the video now, or you have not paid attention one goddamn bit. So spin a Rooney, we get a scissors kick, foot on the rope, and then later, last right out of the corner, Booker, 1, 2, 3, he gets pinned. Taker gets a victory. Jericho tells Coach, I have to win the big one, and then Coach goes to perv on a whole bunch of women like he did ESPN, allegedly. So Jericho takes on The Rock in a WCW title match, and let me be honest, Jericho and Rock had really good promos and good chemistry as far as that. The matches were 50-50. It's kind of like their match at Royal Rumble 2002, which was good, but didn't quite fully click. This clicked better, but took some time. I would have argued, had it not been for the closing moments of the three-way in the main event, oh my, then they should have main evented Rock and Jericho. Because once it got going, it took a bit. They built to it, and there maybe were a few too many rest holds. Once they got going, it was great. This is probably their best pay-per-view match. I mean, I know they didn't face off a whole lot on pay-per-view, but this, I would actually argue this might have been their best match. And considering the interactions and considering the build, that just really was a couple weeks, you know, on TV heading into this because they had the hot shots and stuff after Unforgiven. They were building all this and they, you know, put the title on Jericho here. It was really good. And the crowd was starting to really turn on Rock at this point. I mean, arguably, they were starting to turn on Rock right around, just after Unforgiven. And, which made sense because he was going to be going to Hollywood in about, you know, a year and a half. He was going to be doing some, Mania 20 was his last match appearance. And then he had like one other, I think, where he helped Eugene out, if I recall correctly. And then his contract was done. They let his contract roll over roll away and just go off in the distance, and then he made more money than 5 federal governments put together, and WWE was without a star until they did the once-in-a-lifetime thing with Cena. Once. They only should have done it once. I'm not bitter. Anyway, can Jericho win the big one? Considering I just said they put the title on Jericho, and this pay-per-view has been out for 20 years, if you did not know that, I apologize. Big fight feel. The crowd was very into it. Jericho worked on the arm. The Rock got some boos. We did get rest holds aplenty. Now, we did get some outside action, bashing in the announcer's table. Announcer's tables got beat up a whole lot during this. And rock bottom by Jericho. And a lion salt for 2. That fucking sharpshooter from The Rock, that and the STF from John Cena, which is worse, by the way. If you sound off in the comments. Because John Cena is a strong guy, but that STF, he's like holding it here. And it's like this far out from the neck. It's ridiculous. And then Rock sharpshooter, it's like, seriously, Sting puts more pressure on Scorpion Deathlock, and Sting is in his 60s with spinal stenosis. So anyway, People's Elbow, into the walls, very, very good stuff. And this is after Rock bottom through the announcer's table. Again, once they got past the little wrestle stuff, it picked up, and it picked up big. Steph comes down, she throws in a chair, Rock brings her in, and lays her out on her back, as is tradition with Stephanie, and with a rock bottom, that is, and then the breakdown, that, face buster into the chair. Well, what would now be the skull-crushing finale that Miz took, and Miz did it better because Jericho always looked awkward. He never quite swept the leg out, and other opponents just never quite took it correctly. I don't really know what it was, but 1, 2, 3, Jericho wins. He wins the big one finally. Now, without controversy, Rock has a chair, hands Jericho the chair, says a few words, and says, well, you won. And then leaves. And Jericho celebrates. And then we get pops for Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam and boos for Austin. And a match with these three for the WWE Championship, a 3-way. Oh my. And no DQ. Yeah, we know. They're no DQ. And it should be that way. Because honestly, if somebody gets DQ'd, then what happens? Do you eliminate the other person? And do you, just go on with the other two? Hot start. Angle hit about 55 Germans during this match, and I mean German suplexes, not hitting 55 Germans in the crowd, because even though St. Louis, I imagine, is a bit of a progressive city, I can't imagine there were 55 Germans there, and if there were, I can't imagine they were all in that crowd, and that Kurt could have gotten to them. Enough geography. Would RVD help or hinder Austin? Not hinder gender, because he doesn't need any hindering. STF from Austin. He broke out some good moves here. Angle with the moonsault for 2. He was still doing that moonsault 10 years later, and it was frightening to see. Died by RVD. Vince comes out to ringside and makes his presence known a little bit later. 5-star, stopped by Kurt with the throw off the top. And then stunner to Angle. He rolls outside, and Vince is yelling at him. Vince then hits Austin in the back of the head with a chair. He tried to hit him in the back, but it catches him in the back of the head because he's bleeding really bad. And then 5-star to Austin while Vince is yelling at Kurt. Kurt breaks it up. And then here's Shane, and he attacks Kurt Angle, and then Vince attacks Shane, glomming him over there. I can't remember if it's the next Raw or the October 30th, or October 29th or 30th Raw. It's one of those two dates. Sorry, dates are a little bit confusing to me. I think it's October 29th that they face off in on a Raw, and it's a pretty damn big moment, just mainly because it's seeing a Mania 17 rematch on free TV. But anyway, Stunner to RVD, 1, 2, 3. Vince is disappointed. And my God, the WWE will die. No, they won't, because the alliance ends literally in less than a month. Because Survivor Series 2001, I think, was on the 18th, and this is on the 21st of October. So really, they hot-shot this thing and get it out the goddamn way. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.